Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Sophie Erber.
And I'm Tim Seaman. The Sioux City Community School District is taking the next step in returning students to the classroom. A return to learn plan was approved by the Board of Education just last night.
That's right, at their meeting, all in preparation for Sioux City Public Schools to begin class in just a few weeks. The details now in our top story at 6.
In order to fight COVID-19, it is still necessary for all of us to work together. In 2021, 2022, in that return to learn plan, we've detailed processes and protocols that will be implemented or continued to keep our students and staff safe and healthy during this upcoming school year.
That return to learn plan now awaits approval from the Iowa Board of Education before it can be officially implemented this school year.
The introduction of the Vibe Academy, which is a virtual learning program, is a new addition to the school district. Superintendent Gosman says that the Vibe Academy will serve as a new way for students to learn if they or their families are still wary of coronavirus.
And the proposed plan will also assist students who have needs outside the classroom.
We will do a number of things this year as it relates to assessing students, not only in academic areas, but one of the things I'm proud that our board put in place last night and gave us authority to continue to move forward on are the social and emotional needs of students, the mental health needs of students and families.
That proposed plan also says masks are encouraged for unvaccinated staff and students. However, the CDC has recommended all students and staff wear face coverings regardless of their vaccination status.
Mask mandates are not allowed by law in Iowa, but in Nebraska, students in the Omaha Public School District will be required to wear masks indoors when classes resume next week. The same for teachers and parents, with some exceptions. Several small districts are also requiring face coverings. That Omaha mandate, by the way, went into effect today.
Iowa health officials have tossed out more than 81,000 doses of coronavirus vaccine tonight. This because of low demand across the state. Locally, Siouxland District Health says they've stopped requesting doses from the state for a few months now. In addition to sharing extra doses with other counties and communities, officials with the district say they haven't had to throw away many doses so far. However, the department does admit that waste is inevitable due to the limits of vaccine usage, such as when a vial was opened and wasn't used up quickly enough.
And with cases of COVID-19 on the rise in Woodbury County, a local youth organization is ending a summer program early. Boys and Girls Clubs of Siouxland have reacted to the recent spike in COVID-19 cases by closing their program, a summer program, 4 days early. The program was supposed to close on August 13th. The club will welcome kids back in just a few weeks. That's for the fall program, which is set to begin on August 30th. From vaccine requirements to new variants of the coronavirus, Siouxlanders are looking for answers before sending their kids back to school.
That's right, and we have gathered up some local experts to explain what you need to know. On Wednesday, August 11th, tune into your KCAU 9 News for coronavirus, vaccines, and variants. That town hall event is also going to be available on our website at the address on your screen, SiouxlandProud.com, in addition to our KCAU Facebook page. We know more hot and humid weather experienced across Siouxland today, but is there more high temps in store for Siouxland? Let's check in with the expert, Chief Meteorologist Scott Larson, for our extended forecast.
Well, thanks, Sophie. It looks like it is going to be hotter for tomorrow, but less humid, so we can appreciate that difference. High temperatures today, we're able to climb into the 80s and 90s. Some of the hotter spots to the south in Omaha and Audubon, stretching into the 90s there. 84 in Storm Lake, 88 for Lamar's, 88 also in Wayne. Lows tonight should dip back into the 60s and 70s. It is going to stay fairly warm outside. Again, high temperatures for tomorrow and the next few days expected to be in the 80s and 90s. It does look like it becomes a little bit cooler, though, this weekend, and we'll have it all with the 9 on 9 forecast.
All right, looking forward to that. Thanks a lot, Scott. Tim?
Well, students in Sioux Center, Iowa will be breaking in a new high school this fall. With a price tag of over $42 million, that building is one of the most modern school facilities in the region. Superintendent Gary McEldowney says that the building was built for the future with a capacity of 650 students, but he adds current students will enjoy numerous upgrades previously not available in Sioux Center.
Teachers will have the opportunity to send students out to different areas where they will be able to do some more collaborating. And a lot of the furniture in the school is very specific to being flexible. So I think that flexible is a huge word that helps to encompass what this space is.
All that's left to be done before students arrive are a few finishing touches. That first day for classes, exactly 2 weeks from today.
And today, Sioux City community members addressed concerns over homelessness after several unhoused individuals were removed from their camps sometime last week. Citizens who represent different Siouxland organizations talked about the challenges the homeless community faces in Siouxland, such as lack of affordable housing, access to education, among other things. The executive director of the Gospel Mission, Paul Mahaffey, says Siouxland homelessness is a complex problem.
We deal with alcohol, we deal with drug addictions, gambling addictions, we deal with abusive situations where women with children are being abused. We have even a single men's facility with children, which amazes me.
Siouxlanders do plan to submit a formal request for action to the City Council at their next meeting.
Part of Sioux City's history, now 200 years old, is the focus of a week of events that gets started on Sunday. Folks at the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center are set to host activities for Sergeant Floyd Week. That gets started August 15th. Activities for the whole family are included, like reenactments and building model boats, also part of that festival.
So we have a full week of fun activities to celebrate Lewis and Clark, that Siouxland history, and it's running in conjunction with the Sergeant Floyd Riverboat Museum's encampment.
Meanwhile, this week at the center, a program focusing on the rehabilitation of injured eagles. That's in the Stanley Evans Auditorium and is open to the public.
Pretty cool. Military tributes come in all shapes and sizes around the country, but one Iowa veteran's hobby is a unique one.
Find out how long he's been painting these miniature military figures. That's coming up.
And it looks like it's going to stay warm and sunny as we move through the 9-on-9 forecast. Highs sticking in the 80s and 90s. It does become a little bit cooler this weekend. We'll talk about if there's a rain chance with that in the 9-on-9 forecast. It's right after the break.
You're watching KCAU 9 News with Tim Seaman, Sophie Erber, Chief Meteorologist Scott Larson, and Sports Director Jake Jones. This is KCAU 9 News at 6.
And Scott joins us for a widespread look at the weather, and it's hot.
Again.
It is, yeah, it is pretty hot, but thankfully we are starting to catch on to some drier air. So while it is hot, at least it's not quite as muggy. The high temperature this afternoon was able to stretch to 89 degrees. The low temperature from this morning in the upper 60s. You can see that both values are on the hotter end of average for this time of the year in August. We'll get a look at current temperatures now. You can see that they're stretched out between 80 and 90 degrees. Current temperature of 85 in Wayne, 87 in Yankton. It's 84 outside in Sioux Falls. Meanwhile, the temperature is at 81. Isolated showers and storms, since we will have that temperature difference here with a little bit of a cold front, but not expecting to see a whole lot flare up. Temperature is expected to be in the middle to upper 80s through most of next week before a cool down arrives next Thursday. We've had some awesome sunrises and sunsets. No exception here, thanks to Roger out in Verdigris, Nebraska, for snapping this picture on his property. If you have a picture that you want to share with Siouxland, make sure to go to our website, find the weather tab, and send us your unique photos.
Great shot.
That was really a pinpoint sun. Most of them are big balls of fire. That was pinpoint.
Yeah, and the cloud cover over the sunset too is also really cool.
Looked neat.
Yeah.
Thanks. Well, News Nation Prime is the country's only live national newscast, of course, in prime time.
And it comes your way every night at 7 on News Nation. Here's a quick preview.
Our exclusive reporting reveals what Chicago's police brass did to snub a fallen officer. And now we dive into the backlash against the head of Chicago's police department. That's coming up on Balance tonight, followed by News Nation Prime. Now here's a look at tonight's Banfield. As Andrew Cuomo heads to the door, Ashley talks to another governor who's no stranger to scandal. An exclusive with Rod Blagojevich. That's coming up tonight on Banfield.
And again, News Nation Prime comes your way every night at 7 o'clock Central Time on News Nation.
You can see some of the channels that carry it here, or just be sure to check your local guide.
Well, an Iowa veteran has a hobby that is, well, very small, both in size and in popularity.
It's unique. We'll take you inside the miniature war room that he's been meticulously crafting for decades. Next.
Well, one Vietnam veteran is creating something very small to pay tribute to military heroes, and he's doing it in a very big way.
Ryan Risky shows us these miniatures and how they're being hand-painted.
Oliver Williams took on a new hobby 57 years ago when he started collecting lead military figures and then painting them. When he was in his teens looking for something to do, he found a magazine article that piqued his interest.
I saw an article, I think it was in the Parade magazine, that used to come out with the paper on the figures, and just got interested in them and started collecting and painting them.
Painting the figures requires focus and research. Williams says painting them helps keep his mind off of other things.
It's a good diversion when I get distracted by all the things that are going on that are annoying in life.
His longtime interest is reflected in the figures.
I've always been interested in military history, so I'm interested in the uniforms, and a lot of them are personalities of military people.
Williams says it takes a lot of work and fine-tuning to finish the figures off once he acquires them.
They come in bare metal like this, and they have to be primered with the paint. They're lead figures, and most of them were made through the 60s and 70s. They're not so prevalent now. And after that, you just start painting.
Each figure takes weeks to complete.
There's a lot of detail that you have to put into them. And research. You have to research the uniforms.
In Davenport, Ryan Risky.
And KCAU 9 News is proud to tell the stories of our veterans, especially those here in Siouxland.
And make sure to join us tonight at 10 for this week's edition of Veterans Voices.
Well, we switch gears now. KCAU 9 Sports Director Jake Jones joins us. Jake, what do you have tonight?
Lots of football, guys. Plenty of football on the docket. The NCAA preseason polls coming out today, and it was also Media Day for Morningside as well as USD. We'll hear from both teams coming up next in sports.
That position as well. It's just playmakers upon playmakers upon playmakers, so I think that's really exciting. And then, you know, obviously in the backfield, I mean, we got Travis Tice and Shamari Lawrence and Mike Manzaré that are going to step up this season or this fall, and they're going to make plays. So I'm excited to see those two guys ball out along with Travis, but I'm really excited to see everyone ball out this year.
The Yotes set to open their season in 24 days, also on Friday Night Lights in Lawrence when they travel to Kansas, hoping to score that Big 12 upset over the Jayhawks. Sticking with college football, the first NCAA coaches poll releasing today. Alabama claims the #1 spot. Shocking, I know. Iowa State ranked 8th in the nation, which is the highest the Cyclones have ever been ranked in the preseason polls. The Hawkeyes 10 spots behind at number 18, their highest preseason ranking since 2016. For the Big 12, 4 teams ranked in the top 25. Oklahoma the highest at number 3. And in the Big 10, 5 ranked teams, Ohio State being the highest at number 4.
No real surprises there.
Nothing too crazy, but I've got to tell you, man, it's really cool to see Iowa State getting their flowers for the entirety of last season. It could have been easy to write them off because of COVID year.
Of course.
They're a good team. People understand that.
Cyhawk series this year will have it's hard to think you could pour more gas on that fire, but
it's so early in the year, too. I wish it was at the end. Let them build it up, but it's going to be good.
Thanks, Jake. We check in for one final look at our warm forecast. First, we'll take you outside right now here in Wayne, America.
As more and more folks are added to the list of those that are being vaccinated, it's not only people, peeps. That's right, cats also on that list who have had their COVID-19 shot now.
Check this story out. Mike, the 7th, the live mascot for Louisiana State University, received his final dose of the coronavirus vaccine. An animal health group donated 2 experimental COVID-19 shots. Hugh Mike is the only tiger in his sanctuary. The fear is that his caregivers or those preparing his food could give him the virus, and that would be bad. Last year, lions and tigers did catch the virus at the Bronx Zoo.
But not bears.
But not lions and tigers and bears. I see what you did there. Maybe bears, we won't rule that out yet, but interesting to note that large felines can get COVID.
Well, even before COVID, I was giving tigers social distance. I was not going too close to them.
That was
Probably smart.
That was very smart.
We don't want to
know
advocate
where you
that.
found one. You know, we hear about the random wild cat around here, but
it does happen.
Some of them get pretty big, Tim.
Big cat.
If you feed the outdoor cats, they get big.
Yeah,
They
probably
do.
the football mascot, I suppose.
Secret Adventures of Scott Larson. And not such a secret. Our forecast, warm and summery for the foreseeable future, Scott.
Yeah, looks like it's going to stay pretty quiet out there. We should expect to see a low temperature of 66 for tonight with a mostly clear sky. And tomorrow we're on pace for a high of 92, but at least it will not be too humid. We'll have a light breeze from the north, actually. And it looks like that'll blow through at about 25 miles per hour with the gusts. It becomes gradually cooler as we approach the weekend. Highs in the middle to upper 80s. And rain chances largely absent. We may have 1 or 2 isolated showers on Saturday, but that's going to be about it.
Don't forget our latest installment of Veterans Voices tonight at 10.
That's right. And until then, have a great evening, everyone. We'll see you then.
Good night.